Look, these are rough ones. So this, we just took this off a stack. We have many stacks like this. Like, I could go 30 times what I'm showing you now. Relations with Hezbollah, that's nice. Why do we allow them in our country? I'm just looking at these charges. It's just pretty incredible. Many murderers, many murderers. People that murdered. So what ICE does, and Border Patrol is incredible too. I mean, Paul Perez and that group is incredible. Mostly Hispanic, by the way. They're like 60% Hispanic. You know, they talk about Hispanic. They're mostly Hispanic, right? And they're unbelievable people. And then they say, oh, we discriminate against. I love Hispanic. They are unbelievable. Entrepreneurial. They have everything. I did great. I did the highest. Nobody ever got numbers like I got from the standpoint of being a Republican. But even if you look at Texas, I won the entire border along Texas, between Texas and Mexico. Never happened before. Nobody's ever done that before. I did it as a Republican. I did it. I love the Hispanic. And they accuse us of all sorts of things. 60% of the people we're talking about, they're the best people we have, and they're Hispanic. The Border Patrol is largely Hispanic. ICE is largely Hispanic. They're unbelievable people. I don't know how they can take the abuse. They're taking rough people like this, like all of them. We have 10,000 at least. I could have done 10,000 of them. You're lucky I only did like 100. And this isn't even the worst of the group. They have murderers. They have some people we can't use their picture for legal reasons, but they're up for murder in their own country. And we jeopardize their case. Well, we send them back, and we coordinate with other countries. A tremendous amount of work. All allowed in here by an open border policy of the worst president in the history of our country. A man that didn't win the election, by the way, it was a rigged election. Everybody knows that now. And by the way, numbers are coming out that show it even more plainly. We caught him. So I just want you to know that it's a terrible thing. Here's the book on accomplishments, and this is something. Ooh, I'm glad my finger wasn't in that sucker. That could have done some damage, but you know what? I wouldn't have shown the pain. I would have gone back. What, did you hear that? That was nasty. But I would not have shown the pain. I would have acted like nothing happened as my finger fell off. That was nasty. I think somebody did that. It was him. It was my man. How were you? You didn't do it. I know you did. I know you didn't. So, but here's the book. These are all things we have. I'm going to read a few of the samples, but look at this. These are all, each line is something that we did. Nobody did that before. And it's big stuff, too. Look, we have the hottest country in the world. So, I will read you a few. We ended Biden's stagflation. We were in stagflation. That's a disaster. That's far worse than inflation. As you know, he had the biggest inflation in the history of our country. They say 48 years. Pick your choice. But they had the biggest inflation in the history of our country. We have it right down to a normal number now. We're going to get it even a little bit lower. Created super high. What we've done with growth is incredible. We created super high economic growth, and America is booming. It's booming. There are thousands of businesses right now that are being built. Many of the biggest factories in the world are being built right in our country. They're not going to other countries. They're leaving other countries. Fourth quarter GDP is on track to pass perhaps much more than 5% growth, and that's despite the fact that we had a Democrat shutdown. They shut down our country. and we had 5%. Nobody's in this room has ever heard about 5%. I think it could be 20% if we do it right. If we don't, every time we have good numbers, they raise interest rates. You shouldn't do it. In the old days, if you had good numbers, they'd lower interest rates, or they wouldn't do anything. Here, they try and kill it. They always try and kill success. Over the last 20, 25 years, that's the way. In the old days, if you had good numbers, the market would go through the roof. Today, if you have good numbers, the market goes down. But by the way, we've had the best stock market in history, the best 401ks in history, and we inherited a mess. The numbers that we inherited were way up, and now we brought them, almost all of them, way down. We brought them way down. I mean, I'm not getting, maybe I have the bad public relations people, but we're not getting it across. We inherited high numbers, and we brought them way down. And look at gasoline. They have places in the country now, $1.99 a gallon. $1.99, $2.30, $2.50. I guess the average now they're saying is $2.31. I mean, he was at $4.50 and $5 for periods of time. And he went back to the Trump formula, but he didn't do it properly, and he really went back to parts of it because you would have had $8 gasoline if they didn't. But he didn't do it properly. He had people that didn't know what they were doing. Core inflation for the last 3 months is 1.6%. 1.6. Their core inflation was so high that nobody could even calculate it. Under Biden, real incomes declined $3,000. Think of that, $3,000. That's a year. In 12 months, Trump real incomes went up by $2,000 and $3,000 and even in some cases $5,000. It's a tremendous difference. Stock market has set 52 all-time record highs during the course of the 11 months, because this was done on 11 months. Now we are actually officially 12 months as of today. 52 all-time record highs. That means 401ks did great. I have people see me all the time, policemen that guard us really well, and got to know them a little bit. And they said, "Sir, you're making me look so good. My 401k is through the roof. My wife thinks I'm the greatest genius, that I'm a financial genius, like Warren Buffett." He told me that. He said, I think they have better returns than Warren Buffett right now. But he said, all my life my wife has been criticizing me for not being smart financially. Now all of a sudden she loves me more. But we added $9 trillion in value to retirement accounts, saving many people. I mean, they were going out of business. Think of it. We added $9 trillion of value to retirement accounts, savings accounts, and 401ks. That's during the course of 12 months. And I think it's probably 11 months because I don't think they have it for the 12. They have it for the 11. Added $9 trillion of value. Lifted more than 1.2 million Americans off food stamps in 1 year. They would have had another 1.2 million. We would have had, welfare would have gone up. And instead of investing $18 trillion in our country, now it's probably more than that, but $18 trillion and having thousands of plants being built all over the country, you would have had thousands of plants closing all over the country, and you would have had disinvestment, and you would have had welfare going way up. You know, if you look at SNAP, take a look at SNAP, what happened with that? Was it $7 billion? And it came out to over $51 billion. Nobody has ever seen anything like it. The past administration had no clue. Or they were really bad, but they basically had no clue. But they did have a concept. I mean, they're still trying to sell the idea of men playing in women's sports. You saw that in the Supreme Court. I mean, some of those justices were fighting for them, too. They were fighting for them. But you saw that just the other day in the Supreme Court. Men playing in women's sport doesn't work. Secured a record-breaking $18 trillion in commitments for new investments. Apple, NVIDIA, SoftBank, Oracle, TSMC, Johnson & Johnson, Eli Lilly and Company, Micron, AstraZeneca, General Motors, Hyundai, Ford, Honda, GE Aerospace, many, many others. I left a Ford plant a week ago in Michigan that they were going to close. 2 years ago, and now they just announced that they're going 24 hours around the